You know how an AI can feel like it knows literally everything, but then when you ask it to do a simple, real-world task, it just struggles? Well, today we're going to dig into a new open standard called AI Agent Skills. It's designed to solve that exact problem by giving AI a brand new superpower, a how-to guide.
All right, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with AI's big blind spot. Then we'll break down the anatomy of a skill, uncover its efficiency secret, see how it fits into an AI's memory, and finally, look at both the power and the peril that comes with all this.
So first things first, let's really get into the core problem here. There's this fundamental gap, right, between what AI agents know and what they can actually go out and do in the real world.
And this really gets to the heart of the paradox, doesn't it? A large language model is an absolute treasure trove of facts. It can tell you the history of SQL, or even the airspeed of an unladen swallow. But ask it to do something complex, a multi-step workflow like generating a compliant financial report, it kind of falls apart. Without a clear set of instructions, you either have to hold its hand every single step of the way, or it's just forced to guess, which, let's be honest, usually doesn't end well.
It all boils down to the difference between two types of knowledge. AI is amazing at factual knowledge. That's the what, your trivia, your history, your scientific facts. What it's missing is procedural knowledge, the how. That's the step-by-step process, the nuanced workflow for how things actually get done in a very specific way.
Okay, so how do we give AI that how-to knowledge? Let's jump into the solution, and you're going to see how this works. You might actually be surprised at just how simple and elegant it is. This right here, this is what we're after. Procedural knowledge is basically the memory of how to perform a skill. It's the playbook, it's the recipe, it's the instruction manual for getting a specific job done right every single time. And a skill is just a really simple, standard way to package all that knowledge up.
So the format for a skill is, and I love this quote, comically simple. Seriously, at its core, it's just a folder. And inside that folder, there's only one file you absolutely have to have, skill.md. That's it. Now, you can also add some optional folders for things like scripts or extra reference documents or even data files and templates.
Now let's peek inside that skill.md file. It starts with a little bit of metadata, just some basic info. The only two things you actually need are a name for the skill and a description. And that description, it is absolutely critical. It's the trigger. It tells the AI agent exactly what the skill does and, more importantly, when it should use it.
Right below that metadata is the main event. This is where the magic really happens. You just write out the instructions in plain English, the step-by-step playbook, the rules of the road, even examples of what to do and what not to do. It is literally the how-to guide for the AI.
Okay, so this sounds great, but hold on a second. A single agent might have access to hundreds of these skills. So how does it manage all of that information without its brain, so to speak, just completely overflowing?
And that's the big technical challenge. Every large language model has a limited amount of working memory. It's called a context window. If you just tried to cram the full instructions for hundreds of skills in there right at the start, you would blow through that memory budget before a user even asked a single question.
And this is where it gets really, really clever. The solution is called progressive disclosure. At startup, the agent only loads the metadata, just the name and description for every skill. Think of it like a super lightweight table of contents. Only when a user's request actually matches a skill's description does the agent go and load the full instructions for that one skill. And finally, it only grabs those optional scripts or assets at the exact moment a step requires them. It's so efficient. So now we see how skills work, but where do they fit in the whole landscape of AI knowledge? Let's zoom out for a second and put this into context with some of the other techniques you've probably heard about.
A really powerful way to think about all this actually comes from cognitive science. It turns out that, just like us, AI systems are starting to develop different kinds of memory for different kinds of information.
And this just illustrates it perfectly. You can think of RAG, that's Retrieval Augmented Generation, as the AI's semantic memory. It's for looking up facts, like Rome is the capital of Italy. Then you have fine-tuning, which is kind of like its baked-in knowledge or personality. But skills? That maps directly to our procedural memory. That's not knowing that Rome is the capital. It's knowing how to ride a scooter through those crazy streets and survive to tell the tale.
So you can see this is an incredibly powerful new capability. And you know how it goes. With any powerful tool, there comes a need for caution and a pretty big sense of responsibility.
Now, one of the biggest upsides here is that the skill.md format isn't some proprietary lockdown thing. It's an open standard. That means a skill built for one platform can easily be moved to another, which helps create this amazing shared ecosystem of capabilities.
But here's the peril. Remember those optional script folders? Well, they can contain executable code that runs on your machine. And the source material warns us that audits of skills just floating around on the internet have found some seriously dangerous stuff. We're talking about prompt injection that tricks the AI, tool poisoning that corrupts other tools it uses, and yep, good old-fashioned hidden malware. So the advice here is crystal clear. You have to treat installing an AI skill the same way a good developer treats any software dependency. That means you review it before you use it, you have to understand exactly what it does, and you have to be especially careful with any skills that have executable scripts. Period.
So if there's just one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. Skills are procedural memory for AI agents. They are the simple, standardized how-to guides that finally bridge the gap between just knowing facts and actually getting work done.
This technology really does transform an AI from being a mere encyclopedia into a capable assistant, one that can learn any repeatable task we can describe to it. And that leaves us with a really fascinating final question. Now that AI can finally learn how, what are we going to teach it to do first?
Thank you. Share and subscribe to Learn AI for more AI insights.